and welcome to week 3 of Nature's Prints Coffee and Card with me, Linda, from lindaspapercraft.co.uk, and managed to get away from blue today. I know there've been a lot of blue. It really does suit blue, does the Nature's Print, but this time we are with petal pink, but any pink you've got will work. And it's a bit of a 2 for this one because you're going to have a spare piece of this that you can use for something else. Right, so just pop these all to one side and let's get everything out. Come on, there it is. So we've got a small piece, I think this is copper foil from Stampin' Up, that's come out of my stash. I'm not sure it's available at the moment, but you've got a little piece of that. And then we've got some petal pink and basic white for stamping your leaves, and then another piece of basic white for your sentiment, and then a piece of basic white for inside, another piece of petal pink for your background here that you're going to stamp, and then your piece of designer series paper, which I got off the clearance rack, and then petal pink card blank, and an envelope. So we'll get started. The first thing we're going to do is cut this. So what I basically did was I measured in the same amount from each side and then cut across. So let's just double check what that measurement is. Just get one of my gazillion rulers out, and I think, and I'm right, it's 3 centimeters in. So what I've done is I've just got the paper. Probably could do with a shorter ruler. Hey ho. Got my little pencil and marked 3 centimeters in from this side, and then 3 centimeters in from this side. Of course, you can actually do it on your grid paper, and you wouldn't be fighting with your massive ruler. Okay, or on your trimmer. I'm surrounded by rulers, really. Okay. And then using my trimmer, I'm going to line up my 2 lines with the cutting track. So there's one, so that's there, and here's the other one. So it doesn't have to be exact, you're basically just cutting an angle, but for those of you who want to measure, 3 centimeters in from each end. There we go, and then you've got 2 identical pieces that you can use on the front of your card. Okay, so I'm just going in my tools, and I am just going to, I think I might be needing a new blade. Let's just see if I can even find these pencil marks. Yeah. So I'm just going to rub those out. Yeah, it's both on this one. Okay, so you can keep that for another card. And then you've got this one here. So let's get some stamping done. So we're going to be stamping on all of these. So I'm going to start with the background first. And I'm going to use this stamp here. The splodgy stamp, for want of a better word. And I'm using petal pink because that is the same colour as the card. If you don't have petal pink, you can use another pink. Have a play at what you've got, and then or you could use Versamark or a neutral. Probably crumb cake would probably work quite nicely, actually. So anyway, and I'm just going to randomly stamp these splodges on sort of that half of the card that's going to be showing. I mean, a fair bit of it isn't going to be showing because it is going to be covered up by the DSP and the flower. So, and I'm just sort of fitting it in, moving it round, filling in the gaps basically. There we go.
Here's what I found.
Oh, do you know, half the time my watch doesn't listen to me at all. When I'm asking it to do things, it does nothing, and then I'm sat here trying to do something else, and all of a sudden it wakes up. I keep meaning to make an appointment with the magicians at Apple, see if they can work out what's wrong with it. Right, okay, so there we go. In fact, probably didn't need to do that one in that corner there because it is going to be hidden. And I'm pretty certain we're not going to see there, but just to be on the safe side. Just do that. So let's pop this away. Now all the sentiments in this set will fit on your little label. So I think this one I'm going to use, what's this? Heartfelt thank you. And again, so this is on the small piece of basic white, and just stamp it in the middle. So you're going to die cut it out. Just watch with your rubber stamps that you've not got ink on the edges, because that's how we end up with halos, and we don't want halos. There we go. Heartfelt thank you. And then I'm going to get out the sort of foliage stamp. Sorry, I've got the window open because it's quite close today, so I'm afraid I've got an aeroplane going across. It should be gone in a minute. You can't live 10 minutes away from the airport and expect no plane noises. Okay, so quite a big stamp, so I've used a big block, and I'm just stamping that on that piece, and make sure you press down evenly, but particularly in the middle, so you've got a good image. There we go. And then repeat that on the white. There we are. I love this stamp. It's called a distinctive stamp, which is a trademark of Stampin' Up. Gives that depth of image on one stamping. So see, very subtle on the pink and much more stood out on the white. Pop that away, and let's get the dies out. Let's put the ink away. So we've got very low cloud here today. I think that's why it's feeling very heavy. That's why I'm a bit too warm. Okay, so let's get our mini out so we can do some cutting out. Okay, so start with this one. Just get my Post-it note. Felt like two. Nope, it's only one. There we go. All right. So because there's so many dies in this set, it doesn't actually sit in the stamp set, so I have to keep it separate. And again, we're going to be using this die here, which is the big one. Or fussy cutting if you've not got the dies. Okay, so just going to pop that on. I find if you sort of line up a couple of spots, you're probably about there. Not sure why I'm holding it mid-air. I don't normally hold it in mid-air. I think because it is so pale, it's difficult to see. Yeah, not pale, low contrast, that's the word. So, put that on there. No, it's moved. You're just going to have to excuse my hair. Put it there. Do we think? Just chat amongst yourselves. One day I'll learn how to fast forward through things like this, so you don't have to watch me. But that involves editing and things. which I do know how to do. It's just my phone storage often, once I've done all my clever editing, my phone says, no, can't save that, it's full. So, and I've resisted buying a Mac. Oh, that's clever. Go in, go in, go in. I've suddenly decided I'm left-handed. There we go. There we are. I made that a lot harder than it needed be. Right, okay, so that's number 1. So let's repeat that once we've taken these off with the second one. If you're fussy cutting, you can be as detailed or as, I was going to say rough, but that's not the word I'm looking for, as undetailed. So you can, you know, get every little lump and bump and really cut every detail, or just loosely go around the outline. It's up to you. I think those of you who haven't bought the dies really like fussy cutting, so. Okay, and now just get rid of all the little bits there, and then I'm going to get the sentiment die out. And put that on. As I say, they're all designed to fit onto this die, or this label if you like, all the sentiments, so choose whichever one you want. Okay, alright, let's pop this away. And then it's just a case of putting everything together. I'm just checking we're still more or less straight, because I don't like it when it moves around. There we go. Okay, so we've got that. Two. Just pop my dies away. It's good practice to put your dies away when you finish with them, just so that you know where they are. I hate finding a die and I've no idea where it belongs. Right. Okay, so let's do some gluing. Got all our pieces. So I'm going to start actually doing the front first, because you need to at least get the DSP and the copper on before you mount this. So I'll start with the DSP. I think this is a brilliant layout you can use for anything really, any sort of stamp. You know, ooh, you're getting lots of use out of your designer series paper. And with loads of double-sided paper, so you can decide which bit of DSP you want to use. And this is the same size as your piece of card. So just sliding that on so it's covering the whole lot. There we go. And then instead of putting glue, you don't want glue on the front of your copper. It just loses its sparkle. So what I'm doing is actually just putting, and also it's longer. So I'm just putting a thin bead of glue along here. Normally you put your glue on the smaller bit, but on this one, I think put it on the bigger bit. Put it on so it's just coming off the top. There we go. Ooh. See, got glue on it anyway, even doing it that way. used to sell these with Stampin' Up, but they don't anymore, but you can get them from the big craft shop that begins with A, and they're called glue rubbers. They're also used for cleaning skateboards, would you believe? Right. Don't want to use my posh scissors because they might be glue oozing out. Okay, and I'm just going to trim that off. I didn't quite get it right down to the bottom there, but I don't think it's going to matter. I'm just trimming that edge off. You can just see just a little triangle of pink underneath. So you'll have time to move yours down a little bit and just make sure you're happy with it before you stick it down. Right, and this can now be glued onto the front of your card. So I'm not going to stamp anything on here. It's going on the inside, so I'll just glue that in. Wrong glue. That's for another project altogether. Glue on the front. So I've got the opening side of the card is this side, so in effect I'm doing it upside down. I just seem to find it easier to line up if I do it this way. Once you're happy with it, glue it down. And then we're going to stick these on. So what I actually did with these two, a bit of glue on there, is I stuck them both together how I wanted them and then put the dimensionals on. And I find when you're arranging leaves and things, it's often a good idea to come from the same point. So when I'm putting leaves behind flowers, I point the stem of the leaves to the centre of the flowers. So what I've done here is I've put the two together and then just spread them out a bit, and I think that's the sort of way I want it. So I'm going to put some glue on these three here. So that's those three. And that'll be enough to stick them together, and then I'll position them on the front of the card using dimensionals. So as I say, start with the stem together and then twist. I think that looks really nice. Obviously I've managed to get some glue where it goes through, but that doesn't matter. And then what I'm going to do is pop the whole thing on dimensionals. Just going to chop these up. Raise not, want not, as my mother always used to say. Oops, didn't quite get that all the way through. And these little, the bones, as Connie Stewart calls them. If you haven't found her, she's an amazing American demonstrator who does a wonderful, wonderful bow tying video. For those who, like me, well, I used to be scared of bows. So, but these are the bones of the dimensionals, so you can use all of them. I have more than once watched people throw this part of the dimensionals away. I had to go ferreting around in the bin to rescue them. Right, so let's pop this on my card. All of these off. So I hope you're enjoying this season of Coffee and Card. It's in the current annual catalogue that runs out in May 2024, so there's a good chance if you're watching it before May 2024 you can still get the bundle. So contact me if you want the kit. And as I say, I think this is a really nice layout just generally to have in your armoury as a quick way of putting a card together. because once you've done that background, you do anything with it. Absolutely anything. Right, so just going to put that so it crosses over both sides. And then I'm just putting dimensionals on either end. Treat myself to some new ones. And put that over to hide the stalk, and we are done. And that's week 3 finished. There we are. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed that, and I shall see you all again next week. Bye.